basically the meeting had been called to order upstairs. We had county government day today. We've done our flag salute and got the kids organized, and they're doing the tours. So we're now still in session. And I know Seth isn't on until 10, but let's go ahead and start. I'm sure we'll have something to talk about.
Mr. Chairman, shouldn't we go through the protocol of we've then called it the reading of the minutes and approving that?
I guess we haven't done our minutes, so I didn't go to a pledge of allegiance. We did do that. So yes, you're correct.
I read the minutes and I didn't see any problem. I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second it, or unless you said something.
I didn't.
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
The first one on here is the joint city-county minutes. Is that the minutes that we've got two sets of minutes?
Yeah, I thought this referred to the meeting minutes.
Okay, well, let's just go ahead since that is the one. This is the joint city-county minutes first. Have you had a chance to read those? Okay.
Is that the motion you made, Mr. Mayor?
Or did you?
I would make a motion to approve both minutes, meeting minutes.
Do we have to have them singled out, or can we do both?
I think you can do them both as long as there's a motion and a second, and there's a vote.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to accept both sets of minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's 3-0. Commissioner comments and committee reports. Do you have anything?
I don't.
I have adult and juvenile correction, April the 13th here in Atchison. That's on Wednesday.
April 13th,
Or excuse me, I have it on. I got the wrong date. April. I'm thinking of the breakfast in the government. April 11th. I have a juvenile and adult correction here in Atchison.
I don't have anything this week. Okay, Seth, you're up.
All right. Well, we'll wait for Pat to get here on the K.S.A. Contract agreement. But first thing we have is our bridge inspection proposals for the 2018 year. So every 2 years we do our routine bridge inspections. It's just they go out, they look over the bridges, look for any issues, and do a report on each one. So we had 145 bridges on that this year. And then we have 19 fracture criticals that are on at this current time. And then here after, I believe, June or July, there'll be another 6 that come on to the list. So we'll have to do another proposal at that point for the fracture criticals on that. We have sent out proposal letters to each, multiple engineers. We posted it. We had 3 return proposals back to us. As you see in front of you, Swab Eaton has been our inspector the last 2 to 3 years, if not longer. I believe BG has done them in the past for us before my time, and I'm not really sure about Cook, Platte, and Strobel. If you look on the back page of Cook, Platte, and Strobel's proposal, you'll see their cost estimate, and Swab Eaton and BG's are on the front pages.
Let me ask a question. Do you think we should consider somebody else to check out our bridges versus the 3 companies we got potentially hired to engineer new bridges? What I'm saying is, are they going to find more problems to get more jobs later down the road for themselves?
I think any engineer's they're set to a standard that, say they go out and inspect this and that bridge fails the next day because they missed something, they're held for that. So I think any engineer you give this, they're going to do the right job, whether they have an interest or not. It's in a contract. Everything is lined out there and they have to do what is told. So they're held liable for what's on that contract.
And then the second thing is, whichever one we choose, it may happen that we don't choose them to engineer the bridge. So is their engineering fee to inspect them going to go up?
No,
It could.
that price right here.
Well, it could now.
You said we've had Schwab Eaton for several years.
Since I've been here, we've used
Or the cheapest of the three.
Yeah, I just have one possible question, and would another outfit have a different perspective and maybe get something that, I mean, it's kind of like an auditor, after so many years, you should change. Is there any credence to that you would need to change in this case?
You can take it either way. I mean, I feel like they have maybe a new guy on. You know, they may not have the same 3 guys up here every time inspecting, or they may. Like I said, they're held liable for what they look at and what they review. They take pictures every year, so I don't see them, I guess what you call getting lazy on just saying, oh, we've looked at that last year, it's fine. I do think the data that they saw last year, they'll compare it to it, so it's nice.
Well, I think we can throw the more expensive one out. So we're basically talking about Schwab Eaton. It was one of the nice Florida. There's 6,000 or thereabouts.
I mean, if you don't have any problem with it, I have no problem going back with Schwab Eaton.
Yeah, I would leave it up to you because the money's not that much different.
Jeff, do you have a preference?
It seems like we ought to take, these are all competent engineers, we ought to take the lowest bid. I think the competency of engineers has come out a lot of the slither bomb.
Mm-hmm.
They can be held liable.
Yes.
We're not doing a good job.
Yes.
So they're selling professional services, they're liable for their work.
So with that, do you want to make that a motion?
You okay with that?
Schwab Eaton's our lowest bid.
Yes.
I moved to enter a contract with Schwab Eaton for routine and fracture critical bridge inspections for 2018.
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passed 3-0.
You want
May I
these
get 2 copies signed, please?
You want these back?
You can keep them, trash them. I got plenty of copies.
Do we need to have you over there giving instructions on how kids can register to vote, or when they're going to do that?
I already did, I already know.
Okay.
And I believe I need those for purpose stations.
Okay.
They're registering to the vote today.
For some, yes. So typically get a handful.
Do you want, Michelle, do you want that for your records?
Yes, that'd be great.
The amounts.
That'd be great.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get that. I have some here.
You want one of these back, Michelle wants one, or?
I'll take them.
I do believe I need to sign them,
Okay.
attesting your signatures.
That is on there. I guess before Pat gets here, I mean, if you have any questions for me on that contract, I could Flatten's Robeson over for the 3 structures.
I couldn't get neither one to pull up. The first one wouldn't pull up at all, and then the second one acted like it wanted to pull up. I couldn't get it to pull up.
There's one copy.
It has too much legal stuff in there. I just
That's what I figured. I'd send it to him. I was hoping he reviewed it.
Yeah, I read it, but it sounded legitimate to me, but I'm not a.
Same.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything where found any discrepancies or anything like that.
Yeah, this is the Pat look through. Pat has this. Or
Well, I've emailed it to him. I'm not sure if he had time to review it, but I can leave these copies with him.
I had one question, Seth answered it, and that was I'd seen that there was one geotech only on the 3 bridges, and I wondered why there was just one specified, and he said that the other 2 don't need them as they are not basically a bridge structure. There's like a culvert and
Either a box culvert going into one and then a low water crossing to the other, so those don't require boring. There was the one structure down south, I think it's the 23 .6M6, that's what it was. That's one that it's going to be a little pricey. They're going to try to do some realignment of the road on that one. Basically make it a straighter structure so they don't have to do more road work than necessarily on curves and whatnot.
That's the one down at Potter.
This would be the one on Rollins Road, further south in town. So we'll see. They were going to try to throw some ideas out, and we would basically accept them. I did meet with Husker Steel last week. We went and looked at the bridges again and kind of talked. They are going to have their engineer basically set up a contract or a proposal, basically stating what he's willing to do. Like I said, they're a package deal, but there's some items that they don't specialize in, such as dirt work and whatnot. So what he's going to arrange is the bridge package, engineering for the structure, and then any other work outside of that he would do the plans for, and then we would subcontract out ourselves to the local contractors, which I thought was a wonderful idea, just to get our local guys involved with these projects. So not saying that the Cook Flat Strubles won't involve locals, but this one is actually going to be bid from us, so we can make sure more local contractors have the opportunity.
Have we started the bonding process yet? Was Pat going to start that? Or?
That's a Pat thing as far as
Of
I
course,
know.
we picked the bridges, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Now we need to know how much it's going to cost.
Correct. And this proposal here is what our engineering fees will be for 3 of them.
Okay.
And then Husker Steel should, as soon as I talk to their engineer again, and we come up with a plan for what exactly we want.
So as soon as we know exactly what we want to spend, we could start the bonding process,
Correct.
which
So
will
we
take
could,
about 60 days.
so we could bond for that, or I guess we need to have that money set aside.
Well, there's a cost for bonds. You don't want to be doing.
Yeah,
one
we
with
don't
one.
want to bond for this, bond for that. We want to get one bond to cover it.
Understand? Meaning we want to be able to have the payment for that ready when the plans are set. So it shows in the contract there's 60% due at field check or office check plans. So we have to pay that out.
They're gonna engineer, and then we got to take and turn around and let those out for bid.
They're going to let those for bid for us. But they're basically doing all the work, is what they're.
We're already in July, August before we get anything done.
It'll be next year before any structure started.
That's taking a long time.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some.
I told them I wanted basically to push. Once one set of plans done, let's get it pushed out
Well,
for bid.
I guess it's Pat's bailiwick, but I don't see why you couldn't start the process if we believe that we'll have the amount in the next month or so, or less.
Well, if we accept that contract, I believe they will start the work on the plan. So
What about the other 3 bridges?
that's what I'm waiting on from Husker Steel to bring in their contract. So
Okay.
we're waiting for the contract work.
So we should have that next week.
I was within a week or 2.
Yeah.
Husker Steel to get their 3 bridges up this year, because that's all in house.
Correct.
So,
If they're not already booked for the year.
Okay, now I'm going to play a devil's advocate here.
Okay.
We picked 6 bridges. We've spent a lot of time talking through it. How are we going to communicate our reasoning and our thought process? Because just as sure as we put them out there, we're going to start coming under the critical eye of constituents, which is their right. I understand that. But we've spent a lot of time trying to make the right decision. How are we going to communicate it?
that's a good question, because I received a call last week and I relayed it. Darren Fowler called me, and Cole and Sheila said that they was closing this bridge. We discussed it, but it's nothing been locked in stone. He said, I don't understand it. I want the commissioner to come look at it. And I said, well, I don't know if we can do that, but definitely I'll bring it up during the meeting. And he said the bridge that they're going to keep open is like a cow path going to it. That was his exact words.
That
And I give
structure
Seth the information, his phone number. And he
was one that we had a engineering firm come to do load ratings on. They couldn't get them to come through as feasible to keep open. They were under 3 tons. We don't keep a bridge open for under 3 tons. They ran some more numbers. This is preliminary stuff they were looking at. They said, well, we don't know if we're going to be able to keep it open. They called me back a week later, and in that meantime, I called Colin with Center Township and the senator and stated, there's a possibility that the bridge will have to close. We're going to need to move to this other roadway here and make it passable for this traffic to come through, because it's the only way, gravel roadway out. And so we just talked, just in case we need to be able to move on this pretty quick. They did call back a week later stating that we can load rate it for 3 tons, but 3 tons only. And each storm, I have to go down and evaluate the substructure of it. So if a big storm comes through with flooding, more times than not, the bridge is going to be closed. So
Is it too large for a large tube?
yes, this is a 80-foot long structure.
Probably very little usage. No mail route, no bus route.
A tube like the one that's being put in today isn't big enough.
No, this would take a bridge structure across this.
We need to, I guess it's our responsibility as commissioners, we have to make the final decision.
Correct. And you're going to get the people that are upset because it's not in their area. All we can say is, we picked this, and this structure for these reasons. It's a large thing to describe why we did it, but
maybe in the meantime we should pick phase 2.
I'm more than happy to start selecting phase 2 and have it for our improvement projects for the future. So
that might be a good idea. That as people come forward and say, "Well, why didn't you pick this one?" We ought to keep a list or a running tally. And
we got our criteria how we decide, so we already have that in place.
Correct.
I agree that we should pick number 2, but I don't want number 1 to get lost in the weeds while we're thinking about number 2.
Well, number 1's picked. We're really just waiting on the engineering firm for the contracts. And, so there's time in between. There's other items that I'm kind of pursuing right now, which is our summer season where I'm focusing on. But like I said, I have the list kind of in order on how I want to replace them as, each year, I guess, when these inspections come through is kind of when I rearrange the order.
Well, replacing 6 bridges is huge. It hasn't been done, I know of, for, at least in my...
The commissioner I replaced, in his closing statement, made a comment that he was very proud that they had built 12 bridges in his 8 years, and here we're building 6 in 1 year. So,
right.
And we've already built probably 6 or 8 months, so we're going to be up to that 20 in 8 years.
So, we can't please everybody, but the more we do, the more we're going to please. So.
Well, you want to please everybody, but
I'd love to, but it's impossible.
Yeah. But I think that would, as people, if they complain and say, "Why didn't you do this?" to say, "Okay, we're going to put it on the list, and we will take a critical look at that on the next go around." And
it has to fit
we can't promise
it has to fit this criteria.
Yeah.
I don't want to put them in phase number 2 just because they come and complain.
No, but we'll just say we will take a second look at those.
Because if you pick one bridge that somebody complained about, yeah, I got my bridge. Well, how'd you get that? Well, you just got to complain. Ooh.
Yeah. Right.
We can just put them on a list and evaluate them as they come in.
Don't change our.
But they need to fit the criteria.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they don't.
They got to be a school bus route. They got to be a main travel
Pressure
road.
critical.
Yeah, pressure critical.
Correct. We don't want to change that.
Yeah.
You got to stay late after class.
You have the tardy slip there, Pat?
Well, I had municipal court, and then we had a care and treatment case that I had to get through. But so I apologize.
No problem.
Have you had time to review that contract?
That contract, yes. Although that page, I could not get that to print. It would.
It's just
No, it would show up on my computer, but when I print it, it's all blank. I tried on 2 different printers.
I'm having a lot of computer problems here lately. Things won't send. The CenturyLink wouldn't pull up. Nothing would pull up. Well, I don't think it's a computer. I think it's something in the because somebody else said they had the same problem. When I go to send, it'll go to drafts. Then if I go to drafts and pull it back up, it'll send out of drafts, but it won't send. So and somebody else had this exact same problem. So there's something weird with your network thing.
You got a tick on you?
I don't think it would be.
Is there any issues or concerns?
Well,
Sub-0 too.
if that's what they've agreed to, if that's what we've agreed to, the dollars and remember those had been discussed, but the contracts are standard.
You want this back?
If we approve that contract, I'll need those signed. So
You had no problem with it?
No, they're fairly standard. I think we pay them the fees mentioned, and we pay 60% at the beginning, and the balance upon completion. Well, it's on in the beginning, except after they've done their field check. And then-
Seth presented his three proposals for engineering, and then went with Swab Eaton because it was the cheapest of the three. They were 33, 46, and 39.
Okay. All of the inspections.
Yes.
And some good news, Seth and I and Roger met earlier before he sent out the requests and changed the wording so that we will get these back digitally as well as the books, and that'll make it easier to share. And Roger, the bridge sufficiency ratings, there's some data, a whole bunch of data there. Roger collects, and he's been typing it in. And honestly, that should be another factor that's in your decision making about which bridge to replace. And I know Seth has used it, but it wasn't one he just mentioned when we were talking about it. Some of the bridge sufficiency ratings are in the 20%, maybe even lower.
I believe all these were within the 20s, if not low 30s.
You know, one thing we didn't discuss, but yet we did. We had one field interest bridge that met all the criteria. Are we going to put them above more traveled roads?
Basically, our main travel roads, the bridges on those are not terrible. Oh, we had 3 of them that are on some main travel or major collectors, which we are replacing. So that's a good thing. But like I said, the field entrance one, that was just one that fit 3 of the main criteria, but it's eliminating a fracture critical large structure and basically no maintenance on it. I mean, little or no maintenance will be happening on that. The farmers have pretty much agreed that they will maintain the brush and everything. All we got to do is really check it every couple months, and if brush piles up, great. But I believe the farmers are going to pretty much maintain that. So it's basically eliminating an issue that we want to really deal with. So that's just one thing. I mean, we're going to find those. They're out there. There's a lot of field entrance bridges that are failing.
Like
I have one right now.
Like I said before, I talked to Commissioner Smith from Lebanon County. They had a case where it was a field interest, but I think it was just 1 or 2 farmers got to it, and they fixed it, but then they had them sign off from now on it was theirs. That's something we might want to
We
consider.
could do that with that structure.
So, we'll fix it up, but from now on, it's your baby.
I think eliminating like we're doing to go to a low water crossing is the best thing you can do. It saves a lot of money on that. So you're looking at probably a $450,000 to $500,000 bridge, and we're going to do this low water crossing for right around $200,000. So it's a lot of money, but it's not doubling for a new bridge.
And there's no other route in. So, I mean, we've got some areas like that there's really no choice. I mean,
You're
something has to be
obligated
done.
to. Yeah, it's still a county road. It's a township road. It's what it is, and so you have to provide an access to the property owners.
I agree with you. It's a little bit more limited than that. We're required to provide one entrance, and it's fact intensive because it depends on the road and when the road was built. But from the construction of the road, we only have to do one. And if we get subdivided after that, that's not our responsibility to provide new and updated ones.
But this is actually it's not just from the road into a field, it is actually on the road.
It's a road past there
It is a road.
to a certain
So
extent.
it's, I believe it was the Smith Bridge was actually a field entrance that was, from the road into a field. But this was a opened township road.
Yes.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
I thought there was a little discrepancy on what was being said there.
they're very fact dependent.
Okay. Well, with that, is there any other discussion on signing the agreement between us and Phillips Strobel? Do I hear a motion to accept and sign off on the agreement between Cook Flat and Strobel Engineers and Atchison County? The total amount of engineering fees is $70,500.
And we got bids from other places. Or that,
This is who you all selected,
That's who we selected,
so this is their price they're submitting.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved.
Second,
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. You need 2 copies, son?
We spoke a little bit earlier. Okay, now that we got the engineer, and now they gotta get them designed and get them priced, can we go ahead and start that bonding process pretty quick? So
We won't know. We won't know the price.
Can't the price be put in at the very end, or does that be?
Well, I think what the process will be is they will do their plans, and then they'll come up with a bid letting, and they will send out the applications to contractors to bid on it. And it won't be until then that we'll need money, unless we need to borrow money to do the engineering parts. But
We brought that up.
it doesn't make,
But we don't want bonds for this and bonds for that. We
should
just
we
want
get the bond guy in here as soon as we can?
yes, yeah, Roger Edgar is his name, George K. Bauman Company.
Well, I think what we're thinking is, can we go ahead and keep this process rolling? Because if we gotta wait for this and then we gotta wait 60 days after this, can we start some of that process to maybe speed it up so we can get, I'd like to see some complete this year.
Something started this year.
Yeah, I'd like to see, I don't expect to see all bridges, but at least a couple.
Have we asked them when they thought they could be shovel ready, if you will?
I had mentioned it on a few of them. The larger structures, there's no way this year. Like a smaller structure, you can possibly that little water crossing. There's a good chance it can maybe start the end of the year. There's not near as much engineering involved. It's more design and then.
I can see the Husker Steel getting done.
So I possibly maybe one Husker Steel, maybe that little water crossing, and maybe one of the other small structures. Possibly. I mean, it all depends on contractors' workload. When we kind of set up construction dates, so as soon as this is signed, I can talk to Gladys Drobel, see if they can set a priority on the one or two of them, and then work on the second one as soon as those are out in bid. But we also got to take into consideration that, if we put them all 3 out for bid at once, one contractor might want all 3 of them, give us a better price. But you just never know. I mean, if we have a concrete box structure here and we got an actual bridge structure here, or times not, there's going to be 2 different contractors bidding.
You know, I get worried about stuff is that we spend so much time on the weeds.
Correct.
That we don't move the project forward in a timely manner.
Well, I'm afraid of, they're gonna start the projects in fall when people's trying to get crops out, using those bridges. It's not an ideal time.
Well, I think most of these be pretty critical about taking loaded trucks or combines across them. So
Most of these you should take anything across them.
Yeah. These are fracture critical bridges, so I mean it's going to be a mess. But at any time they're going to have a problem. Any of these large structures will probably be out 6 months by the time it's tore out, started till completion at least. So we're going to either hit somewhere. We're going to hit a critical time.
Regardless.
Yes.
And we should have the fear that the bridge fails
Yes.
before we get to it. I mean,
Bridge fails before we get to it. Yeah, they're still.
Okay, let me ask you this. We bond out for these 6 bridges. We have 2 fail before we get these 6 started. Then what do we do?
They'll be on phase 2 because I mean once you get this ball rolling, you can't change in midstream. That pun, but
just close them. And I mean, if there's something we can repair, we'll do it in house. But that's
Looks like well, you never know how much weight's going to go. But it looks like the engineer ought to say, well, this bridge any minute can go, and maybe put that on phase 2. But then if somebody carries 10 times the load limit and breaks through it, it may have been not that bad a shape.
In the inspection reports, they have critical items which they are required to call me if they find, and then they state them in the report. And so when they send that report to me, I go through them. If they had to call, say it's something that's not in dire need right at that moment, but within that few months, something needs to be done. I get that report, and then we can schedule what needs to be done, or we discuss with that engineer firm. Yeah, this is what you should do to repair this, and so that's what we'll do.
This is probably a dumb question, but do the townships carry any insurance on their bridges?
They don't have any bridges.
That's true.
Correct.
That is true.
They've got small culverts and they've got tort insurance or for liability against them for a rock in the road, things like that, which I imagine would hold over if they had a hole in a tube or things like that, which would be under the same thing.
We don't know about it. Really not much we can do. So until it's noted or given to us, and then we have an obligation to, at a reasonable amount of time, to have it repaired. Any other questions?
No? Okay. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
Get a hold of Darren.
Trying.
Stacy?
Eric has the proposal there from Swab Eaton for the study on the standalone building.
Yes. Now, we had that question about the 7,500. So
That is the total, what the total will be. It's not in addition to.
So
the
it would
one.
be $1,500 more than
Correct.
what we
Correct,
had
yeah.
approved.
Are
Yeah.
you gonna be here for the Capione Township?
Are they coming to Capione
245.
Township, or did you get hold of them?
I did not talk to him.
So yes, he's probably coming.
Okay. So,
That's okay.
um,
So this proposal will void out the one that you signed while I was on vacation.
was it last week or 2 weeks ago we approved
Yeah.
the, was it 6,000 for the,
Correct.
and we had a question at that time. This one wasn't, it was just in a different folder that we didn't see.
Yeah,
that
when
one.
I forwarded it, that this one wouldn't open. So he had to resend me this one. So
So
this is the one that should have been signed in the first place.
I would make the motion that we replace this contract for $7,500 for engineering on both buildings and void the contract for engineering on the one building for additional $1,500.
Is that legal verbiage, okay?
Sounds perfect.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0. And it's me that needs to sign this. And today's date, yeah, we'll have to do today's date. Okay. So let's go to Michelle.
Stacy,
Yes.
when are we gonna get some spring weather? You're responsible for that.
Tomorrow, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're not coming until 10:45. Do we have anything else we need to add on the Autism Awareness Month proclamation? We did that this morning upstairs. Do we need to?
We'll have to notify Joe or maybe Sergeant.
Yeah, I've already gotten
I forgot to say something about
notification
the
for
lights.
Tom for the lights. You may just want to, since we're on camera now, just kind of, I don't know that you'd necessarily have to reread it, but just to kind of just explain what we did do this morning, how things transpired upstairs.
We signed a proclamation upstairs this morning in the courtroom when we had our students there for proclaiming Atchison County, Kansas, and making a proclamation. This is Autism Awareness Month, and April 2nd was Autism Awareness Day. We had a young man, Cooper Wright, who was available. He was afflicted with this diagnosis, and we presented him with a seal and frameable copy of the proclamation. The lighting, what color is that changes?
I believe it's blue.
Proposal.
Blue.
Is it blue? Okay. So we do have another copy of that
I
here.
believe that's already been changed actually, because I just noticed it the other day. I think it is already.
I never
blue.
see it at night. I'm very seldom get up here. So. I was very happy to participate in that. Okay. Is there anything else? Older and unfinished business? Skip over Capioma is scheduled for 10:45, so if we get done here, we may have to adjourn for a little while until recess. Excuse me. Thank you. County councilor updates.
Yes, we're having on the tax sale. We're actually having quite a few properties that are taxes are being paid and they're being redeemed. There was at least one yesterday that I don't have on here. There have been 22 of those properties since the case was filed that have redeemed. And in the course of doing that, paid $74,523.21 in taxes. It's actually a little more than that because the numbers I have are the amount of the tax and penalties and interest up through the date of filing, and I didn't update them. But it would be more than that, so more than $74,500. Court costs of $12,526, and of course that will go towards reimbursement of the publication costs that we are going to have, and also the abstract that's already been paid. So I thought
It's a good problem.
you'd be interested
Should
in
we start the progress of the next one? Or maybe fall?
that. I guess that's up to you. I would prefer. I think it's going to be more difficult for us to identify tracts that should be included in the sale because we already have these that are included in the sale, and I think it also causes a great deal of confusion to people if there are two of them filed at the same time.
Well, I'm not saying file them. I'm just saying start the process of getting a list. Let this one get over with, and then.
Yeah, we can do that. There have been a number of people that have mentioned that they hadn't thought that the tax statements that we send out do a great job of alerting them that there are taxes from prior years that are owed. It is on the tax statement. It shows at the top taxes owed prior years and lists the year or years. Those are in black and white. They're not in color, so they're not in red, for example. I don't know that we have a way to go through manually with a highlighter and mark them because I think those are done by a vendor, and I don't think we want to pay for color printing of those. We have not sent out a specific letter to landowners who may be included in the tax sale, warning them that your property will be included in the next tax sale, and we will send the property for abstracting on such and such a date if the taxes aren't brought current. There would be some expense involved in doing that. It would be cheaper than abstracting. I don't know if that would, how much attention that would get. Many people mention that, complain, I don't know if that word is, that they would have paid it if they had realized that they were owed.
That's not our responsibility.
That's just an excuse.
It's not.
Let me ask you a question, Cut. At one time, I understand that you could not pay your taxes, the penalties and the interest would be minor.
Right.
And now I think that's changed, right?
The rate.
Penalties are higher, the interest rates are higher.
But yeah,
Maybe knowledge of that. I think I've had people say, I didn't realize the penalties were that high. Because they've changed. They've gone up substantially.
they call it penalties. It's really just interest. And the interest rate has gone up. It had been in the 2% range, and it's up to 10%. It had been 10% if there was more than $10,000 owed in total taxes, but it's now 10% on all of that.
2% is a pretty cheap loan.
Right.
You know, I think that's where the mentality might have been.
Right.
So if people are aware that it's 10% now, they might.
I think as each tax sale, they will get more familiar with it. It had been going on for so long that we didn't have something set, but now it's out there and they know we're going to have tax sales, so it won't take long to educate.
So, if Pat sent out a letter instead of a filing early, was there 80 properties, 100 properties?
I don't know, but probably.
So if it costs
That'd be the next
$3 a letter to print and mail and
Produce.
produce, that's $300. It's really cheaper than $12,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
then we can see if it makes any results. Give it a few weeks to see if it doesn't make any results, then proceed.
It will help some, but it won't be as good as saying your property is on tax sale.
So I guess that's true. It
But
doesn't
like I
work.
said, it might be worth $300. Try.
But
But-
advice is a tough thing. You don't want to get your head into. So
I think that would be pretty simple to do, and we also could give them a deadline of when we would turn them over to abstract. Set a deadline of July 1st or something like that.
once it goes to abstracting, they're now responsible for the abstracting costs and the filing cost, right?
Well, filing upon not until we file the case.
Okay.
And in this last one, there was about 4 days, I think, where after it was filed, but before it was fully processed, that people could pay their tax and avoid paying the court costs. And but those were not people we had notified about the sale, so I didn't raise a big. I didn't raise any objection to it.
Take the money.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the numbers be eventually going down as far as properties? I mean, now that we've identified a lot of these properties, they've been kind of perennial properties that have been neglected for years, and we kind of get them worked through the system. Won't we eventually?
3 years from now, they'll be right back on the list.
I would think so. I would hope so.
But I mean, there was a glut initially because there was properties that had went more than the allotted time and that slipped through the cracks that we basically learned how to identify properties better.
Yeah, that's true. And there had been some, I think, that had been taken off of the sale earlier, and then were never put back in. So, but yes, I think it's true that there should be fewer and fewer going forward.
I know I've gotten good feedback from the community at large about it because they, why were we letting these things just build up and all that money on the books? And even though we go through the process and a lot of them can't pay, I mean or you're not going to get that out of the sale. At least it's cleaned up and off the books. Hopefully the property will be into new hands and rehabilitated and become viable property again, back on the tax list. So. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. So, do you want us to go ahead and prepare that kind of warning letter and send them?
I do if you think it's effective.
We won't know till we try. I don't think.
So if it's the minimal cost, I just came up with $3 a letter. I don't know if that's viable.
Well, we did. I think that's probably actual dollars spent. It probably is less than that.
So you can just pull it into an Excel spreadsheet and mail them?
Yeah. Yes. And there's some time involved in making sure that we're not sending.
Making sure the information's accurate.
Yeah, making sure that we're not sending them to properties that have been taken out, or were included in a prior sale, or are included in bankruptcy. We don't want to send a notice to somebody who's in a bankruptcy that pay up or we're going to do something bad, because I don't want to have to go talk to a federal judge about why we're violating the automatic stay.
Am I correct in saying that you can only be delinquent with taxes on a commercial building for 1 year?
Two on commercial, one on vacant, 1 year on vacant properties, 2 on commercial properties, and 3 on homestead. So I should say 2 on non-homestead property.
Mm-hmm.
So that would include commercial, it would include rental houses that are residential. It would include vacant land, probably includes farmland, although we don't have, I don't know that I've ever seen farmland and make it to the filing. When we did, it was little slivers that didn't belong to the farmer.
Okay. Is that all your updates?
Yes.
Is there any need for executive session today?
None that I know about.
Okay. Shall we then recess for 20 minutes till 10:45 when the township's coming? Is that agreeable?
I don't know if I'd put a time limit recess until they get here. 20 minutes, they may not be here. They may not come.
I think we have to state a time when we recess because we got to let them know when we're back in open session.
I would make a motion to recess until 10:45.
Okay.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have a conversation.
Well, no, there was one. I sent an email to K.Camp quarterly reports.
Yeah.
And if we needed to discuss that, we need to go into executive session. I don't know if anybody wanted to discuss anything about that.
I didn't say anything myself.
Well, I was going to hand it to you guys to look through. I hadn't had a chance to.
I glanced through it. There's a lot there.
So if you
Did
want
you see
to
any
take
problems?
this time during recess to see if there's anything there you want to look for, and then we can have a.
Is this the same report you emailed?
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it. Okay. I haven't had a chance to look at it. So
I see it.
She'll go
Okay.
ahead and stop camera.
well, we've got to vote.
Okay.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's 3-0.
We're back on.
Okay, we're back in session. Next on the agenda was Capion Township. Greg Dalzell, you want
Yeah,
to tell me?
we had a couple that want to put a house on their property in Arrington, and where they want to put this house is an old house foundation. They said that, but it's where they want to put it is where there is a road in Arrington, but the road has not been graded, gravel used for. We have no idea how long. It's been a long, long time. And their bank will not finish up their loan with them until this ground is, the road's vacated and everything is clear title to them before they will loan them the money, since they want to put it on part of the right of way there.
So this is officially an open road, but on the books, it's not been closed, I guess you'd.
Yes, that would be, in fact, if you would like to see
Mm-hmm.
a map of it,
Would that be a case where on some other roads, the landowner brings it up to county and then the county takes it over? Or is it totally different?
Well, I think they just want to close
They
this.
just want to close it and build on it.
There's
And the deed,
there's a
the
road
deed's
that's defined there.
they came to the
So they want
township
to close
board
it and build right on
and
there?
asked if we would, vacate the road. They called me and I explained to them that you guys were the only ones that had the power to vacate the road. And so then I told them they would need to get permission from the property owner on the other side that would be vacated. And so they did that. They had a letter that he signed saying he was okay with that. And the township has met and we are okay with it. In fact, there's an alley on that property as well that they would like vacated, and we are absolutely fine with that. So we would be in agreement of vacating the road and the alley.
I see no problem.
No longer exists.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Well, there's a process. There's a petition the landowners are supposed to sign, and then you have to, after they they file it with you, you have to set a hearing date, and you have to do a publication, and I think it's 3 weeks prior to your hearing. And at the hearing, no one will show up except maybe the landowners, typically. And then if you approve it, then you do a resolution that vacates the road, and it gives the land back 1/2 to the landowner on each side. And then there's the possibility that someone could claim that they were injured by it, but I think we wouldn't have that here because we'll have all of the affected landowners being the petitioners. Yeah, the map is showing it is owned by Phillips, but that may not be up to date. That may only get updated quarterly or something like that. So we'll do some checking to make sure.
So I would need them to come here to get a petition. Where would they get the petition? I guess.
Well, I can get them for them. Do you have a phone number for them that you gave?
I do not.
Are these for me to keep?
Yeah.
We can make copies of them if you.
They just said they would like the map back if you did need the map, but
To
they got it down here anyway.
make things simpler, Greg, wouldn't it be easier for Pat to contact them and say, this is what you need to do, versus Pat telling you telling them?
I'm absolutely fine with that, and I can get a phone number and give to Mr. Henderson and
Maybe
he'll have
email.
Email, sure.
For them, that would be great. So.
Yep.
And
But we're fine with it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem
They
here.
just gotta do the legality.
Yeah, we gotta go through and cross the I's.
And I came
Or
so
talk to
that
us
you guys
trustees.
knew that the township was okay with it, you know. They came to us, we discussed it, we said absolutely fine with it. And so I wanted you guys to know that we're okay with it.
do you know where they're planning to build?
By his finger point, it was right here in this corner, just
So they must be able to do access right there.
well, I think I understood.
A road close to it, so they don't need.
Okay.
That was where he showed, so. And the trailer house that's on the property is gonna stay there. Their son's gonna live in it or something, they said, so they're just adding.
You may, when you're in contact, remind them that they'll have to do a inspection or on how their sewer will be laid out and everything too. You know, if they're going to apply to put in a new home. I don't think they can share it with a trailer, so if something's in close proximity, I always want to remind them that just can't be added on without somebody looking at it.
Okay. I will remind them as well. Okay, I will get the information to you. Great. You can get in contact with them.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Nothing more, Seth? You're getting out of here all quick. With that, is there anything more? With that, do I hear a motion to adjourn at 10:55?
So moved.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's 3-0.
This is, no, what I don't call her, but she was